Third time's the charm, Bhante.
And then I have to turn this off because it used to come on and disrupt things. And okay, hopefully that'll work. So go ahead and sit down. The volume's up a little bit too loud. So everybody can hear me out there, okay? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, friends, so let's go ahead and begin with reciting the Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who like to join.
Namo tassa.
Wait a second, I'll read it. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma
Samma sambuddhassa.
sambuddhassa. Please turn off your microphones out there. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. Welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice, this Thanksgiving evening. And I hope that you all are able to read through the attachment that I sent out, the detailed descriptions of those insight the stages of purification. Last week we went over those 7 stages of purification in a kind of a general way. And now I want to go over in more detail because there's lots of very useful information about those stages that we find in the Visuddhimagga and the commentaries that most people never read, so they don't know the details of those stages. So I want to go over them this evening as the first part of this program. So I'm going to share the screen with you. And see, I always run into this problem. Where's that screen? Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. So the 7 stages of purification we went over. The first one is the purification of conduct. Now, basically, that is at least learning how to practice the 5 precepts, live by the 5 precepts in the case of lay people, or if you're taking 8 precepts or any other set of precepts, like if you're a monk, then you have the Patimokkha, but normally it refers to the 5 precepts, because we create most of our guilt, worry, remorse, and fear and agitated mind because of not following the precepts, and then the suffering repercussions that come to us from not following the precepts prevents us from reaching deeper concentration, because of thoughts and worries and greed and hatred that dominates the mind, and in people that don't follow the precepts, that prevents them from gaining concentration. So that's pretty self-explanatory. The 5 precepts are here. So then the purification of mind is the next stage. And we talked about this too. It means by following the precepts, and you're able to suppress the hindrances. So the 5 hindrances, which are listed right here, you can read them. These hindrances are caused by not following the precepts, by and large, mostly. And there's other reasons too, but generally it's because of that. So by following the 5 precepts for a certain amount of time, then gradually, when you start to concentrate or practice meditation, you'll be able to suppress these hindrances. And the 2 definitions of purification our mind is, normally it's referred to as attaining the jhanas, but even in what is called upachara samadhi, which is a stage just before the first jhana, you can read this. It's access concentration. Having developed the 5 spiritual faculties, the mind gets more concentrated, but so in access concentration, the hindrances are pretty well controlled, but the jhana factors are still weak, and therefore one has not sort of officially reached the first jhana. But the access concentration has like some piti and sukha and not many wandering thoughts. So that's usually included in a more liberal definition of the purification of mind, attaining access concentration. But if a person can actually attain the first jhana, it will be a little bit stronger. And so these jhanic factors, or you can read them there, initial and sustained application, that means the mind is fixed on the meditation object, and therefore you experience the piti and the sukha and the one-pointedness of mind. So that is normally considered the true stage of the purification of the mind, but like a lot of people may not be able to attain that first jhana. So even with access concentration, you develop what is called momentary concentration. So there's actually three types of concentration: access concentration, first jhanic concentration, and momentary concentration. And momentary concentration, according to the Vipassana system, is also reaches that level of the purification of mind. And momentary concentration means the mind is just following each moment of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, or touching as it comes and goes, but without getting carried away by them. So it's entering, momentary concentration means the mind entering the flow of awareness, but it's not fixed on one object. So it's different than the fixed concentration, the idea that you focus on one object like a little spot of light, and you try to concentrate until that light fills up the mind and drives everything else out of the mind, except it becomes full of white light, or maybe just the sensation of breathing. But the momentary concentration is not like that. But because it's going from moment to moment, even the hindrances don't stay in the mind, because sense desire arises, but it will vanish very quickly, and something else will come up. So the what is called momentary concentration, khanika samadhi, is the kind of concentration that we develop in the vipassana meditation, or in developing the four foundations of mindfulness. So but either those, the fixed concentration, access concentration, or the momentary concentration, khanika samadhi, upachara samadhi, and appanajjhana, are considered to be the purification of mind. But again, to keep it simple, it means the hindrances are suppressed, the mind becomes very clear, and it's not being distracted by drowsiness or getting carried away in thought. So it's very clear, and it's focused in the present moment. So that is called the purification of mind. And that is what is needed to then go on to develop purification of view. The third of those purifications, the purification of view. So you can see what it says here: when the stage of purification of mind is accomplished, either with access or fixed concentration, or developed through momentary concentration, that is where proper insight meditation can then really begin to get deeper. And the purification of view is essentially overcoming the view of a permanent self or soul, called sakkaya ditthi. So when it says the purification of view, it means overcoming the clinging or belief that there's some kind of eternal self or soul that belongs to you, and is kind of some static soul inside of you that is going to be with you forever. So that's part of delusion. And the purification of view is when you get a clear perception, when that sense of self gets momentarily transcended. Then you understand that that sense of a permanent self is an illusion. And it's connected with the five aggregates. So the five aggregates are what we take as I, me, or mine. This body is myself. These feelings are mine. The perceptions are mine, the thoughts are mine, the emotions are mine. We're always saying that, right? Oh, I feel sad, I feel happy, I feel depressed, I'm angry. I is behind everything that we do. So it's about meditating on the five aggregates. So that's part of the Dhammanupassana. In the first stage of insight meditation is learning how to develop that perception of impermanence, or the anicca, dukkha, and anatta of the five aggregates. In understanding that, that is considered the purification of view. And with that, actually, one can attain the state of a sotapanna. But it's mainly that. That's why in Vipassana meditation, the five aggregates are one of the most important subjects for contemplation. That means they're arising from moment to moment. You get sensory impingement, like you hear a sound. That's the arising of material form. And then you feel that sound as something pleasant, painful, or neutral. You identify it as an object with a perception, saying, oh, that's Bhante Rahula talking. That's a perception in your mind. And then your consciousness thinks that you are actually hearing it. So all those five aggregates, when you develop Vipassana awareness, you see how those things are just arising because of the habits, because of ignorance and because of the past habits and the way we were brought up as a child. We identify and cling to these aggregates. So when you get a deep insight through the Vipassana method, you see how all that is basically an illusion, and all the aggregates are arising from the force of the past previous karma, and the karma that we're creating. We keep reinforcing the idea that these aggregates are I, me, and mine. So the purification of view is when you get a glimpse, even if it's a momentary glimpse, you realize, oh my God, it's all an illusion. That's the kind of insight that's needed. And then you overcome the doubts about it too. So anyway, it's good to read through. I'm not going to read through all this. There's a lot of good information in these detailed explanations. That's why I've included them. And it includes, developing analytical knowledge, especially of the aggregates. And then, but there can still be some doubt. So this next purification is the purification by overcoming doubt. And that means just continued meditation. And it means practicing the understanding paticca samuppada. It understands how this whole process of birth and death arises and passes away moment to moment. And when you die, the mind gets reborn again according to its karma, and then comes back for another life again. And the mind just goes through these rounds of rebirth over and over and over again for millions of billions of years, caught in samsara. And so basically this overcoming doubt is meditating on the 12 links of dependent origination, so that the doubts, any remaining doubts, get removed. Now, in the purification of view, the doubt about yourself gets removed, but there could be other doubts about karma, rebirth, doubts about whether you can attain enlightenment, could be doubts about yourself, whether you're able to actually make progress in the Dhamma, and so on. And you can see these questions that are connected with doubts. Person thinks, oh, was I in the past? Was I not in the past? What was I in the past? How was I in the past? Having been what was I in the past? Or shall I be in the future? Will I not be in the future? All these skeptical doubts. So those are overcome when a person gets a glimpse of the Paticca Samuppada, the 12 links of dependent origination, understands that in the forward order and the reversed order. But I encourage people to read this because it's too much to kind of go into, now, because there's just a lot of detail there. But basically, it's developing the Vipassana method of, tuning into the flow of impermanence and then seeing how the conditioned mind arises and learning how to detach from clinging and identifying with it. Now, while you're doing this meditation, because you're in a state of a deep concentration, these purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and not the path. So sometimes when people are practicing concentration and even vipassana, as I mentioned, you might see a light in the mind, or you might have extreme bliss and happiness arising, or you might have some other visions. Maybe a vision of the Buddha might float by your mind. Or you might think that, because of these signs, you've attained some state, or even you've attained enlightenment, because it can feel like that in some of the insights that come up when you're in a deep state of vipassana meditation. Or if you're also going into formless jhanas and so on, that's how people can get deluded. They enter formless jhanas of infinite space, infinite consciousness, and they think that's enlightenment, because that's what happened to the Buddha. The Buddha, when he left the palace and went searching for the truth, he practiced with these Hindu ascetics who were attaining these formless jhanas, arupa jhanas, and of infinite consciousness, nothingness. And they told the Buddha that was the highest. That was their enlightenment. But the Buddha didn't buy it. No, that can't be true. So the Buddha left that practice and went back to developing insight meditation, and didn't get stuck on these false states of enlightenment. So that is what is meaning by purification and knowledge and vision of what is the path and not the path. That means that just concentration and attaining jhanas and formless jhanas is not going to lead you by itself to enlightenment, but only having attained jhanas, then developing the vipassana wisdom into anicca, dukkha, and anatta, and that is what is the true path to, to full enlightenment. So that is the meaning of that purification by knowledge and vision of what is the path and not the path. Not getting stuck on all the what I call the ornaments of meditation, like bright lights, or feeling that you're floating and all these other things, or even if your body levitated, or you think you can read somebody's mind, and people get distracted by these byproducts of deep concentration, and it can delay their progress to attain full enlightenment. So that's the meaning of that. And one just goes back to, again, developing that moment-to-moment contemplation of impermanence. Each moment of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, and touching is just arising and vanishing very, very rapidly, like hundreds of times, even in the space within a couple of seconds. You can clearly see things just arising and vanishing. It becomes that clear. And that's when you understand how the illusion is created, the illusion of permanence and so on. And so that helps you to overcome those doubts and so on. And again, it all comes back to the five aggregates. Is the constant object of contemplation in that kind of vipassana process and developing the factors of enlightenment. And then it shares these 10 imperfections of insight. So what people think that that's enlightenment. So it lists them here. A brilliant light might arise in the mind, or it could be a little pinprick of light. And some people try to focus on that light and make it expanded into like the light casino. So they get attached to that, and they might think, oh, that's the light of God, that's the light of enlightenment, but it's wrong. It's just a what they call vipassana upakilesa, the defilement of the meditation. Or the rapture, of course, what comes with jhana, the rapture, the blissful feelings that arise, tranquility, the mind gets super tranquil, and equanimity arises, nothing bothers you anymore, and you think, oh, I must be enlightened. And you give up that exertion. So these 10 are the traditional kind of these imperfections of insight, that if you get attached to these things, it could slow down or impede your progress toward the true liberation. And you can read that there's a risk that the meditator will mistakenly believe that these pleasant experiences indicate the supramundane path and fruition, that these are the real nibbanic experiences, but it's false. It's like fool's gold. People get fooled. There's prospecting for gold, something looks like gold, but it's not. So the meditator is likely to get attached to them. So that is taking what is not the path. So now this next, I think this is the sixth, the seventh of the seventh of those purifications. I'm going to not go over them now because it'll take too long to talk about them, and it's a long explanation. So I would encourage you to during this next week to especially read this section on the purification by knowledge and vision. So this is sort of like the last stretch of vipassana. This is what actually leads to enlightenment. All the previous things were just kind of strengthening the mind and clearing away the obstacles so that the mind can then head into the last stretch. Be like a person running a marathon, and the last stretch, the last mile or so, they, race toward the finish line. But anyway, so now, having gone through that, I want to see if there's any questions about any of those details I hope you've read that anyway and formulated some questions. There's something in the chat box, so I'm going to look at this. Now I'm going to go away from this screen now and stop sharing the screen. Hopefully you would have this on your own computer, this link to this thing, that hopefully you have it. Okay, this one question from Damon. This stage is seeing through the idea of a self. With the mind steady from stage 2, you look directly at experience and see what you call me as just the 5 processes happening from moment to moment. Yes, the 5 aggregates. That is what, by having attained that, you can, and That's why you need to attain the purification of the mind. You need to suppress those five hindrances, because when the five hindrances are still working, you're not going to have the strength of that vision to clearly see how the five aggregates are just arising and vanishing, and how they're totally interconnected and creating the illusion of an I and so on. You can't do that with a distracted mind, because it's like a scientist looking down through a microscope. If a scientist is looking down through a microscope and he's trying to, look at something really deep, like, molecules and cellular movements and so on, but the table that the microscope is on keeps getting jiggled and jarred by people bumping into it, or other kind of things, and he's trying to look down, he won't be able to see clearly. And so he wouldn't be able to discover a cure for cancer, because to discover a cure for cancer, you have to know how DNA are operating, you have to know how cells and molecules are doing this and that, and you can't do that if the mind is distracted. That's why it takes that purity of the concentration to see that. And that's why a lot of people, they don't get through this stage until they have reached but you can develop that purity of mind through the practice of vipassana and developing that moment to moment. It's being able to see the moment to moment coming and going without the mind clinging. The thing is, our mind clings. A fly lands on your face, you totally draw it away. That broke your concentration. Or even something less minor than that. Even remembering something, that person lied to me. It breaks the concentration. You have to go back to square one. So that's why those hindrances have to be suppressed, so that you don't miss anything. Because if a scientist misses one little tiny movement of a molecule, he might have been close to seeing the cure for cancer or something, but if he blinked and he didn't see that one vital little movement of whatever it is, it would put him back, in his research. So that's why that concentration needs to be, that purification of the mind is an important step, so that one can clearly see develop that purification of view. It's really like looking down through a microscope. That's pure and simple. That's what the Buddha was when he sat down and he looked into this body, and this body was the laboratory, and the concentration was the microscope. And the more you gain the first jhana, second, third, fourth jhana, it's like turning the microscope up from 50 to 100 to 500 to 1,000, and then an electron microscope blowing the whole atoms to smithereens to see emptiness, to see that emptiness. So that's the power of the mind that is developed through developing vipassana. So that is what blows the self out of the yard, and that insight. So, you see now these five aggregates are just the mental process that are powered by the past karma and the past conditioning. And we keep on re-strengthening them every moment that we cling and react to them, we're re-strengthening them. So these are the kind of insights that, will arise in the meditation. Okay. Dragon Yogi, you have your hand up?
Yes, Bhante, thank you, full of gratitude and appreciation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Where can we use in part of practice for dispassion, compassion, happy, tranquility, repeat?
Well, in the insight knowledges that that comprise that seventh stage of purity, you go through stages of dispassion, seeing the fear and danger and dispassion. Those are very much advanced levels that we haven't discussed yet.
Okay.
And when you
Thank
get
you.
the insights, that's when compassion will arise, because you see, even the enemies that do stuff that bug you, it's not them doing it, it's just ignorance. And so it's the grounds for compassion that we hate people because we think it's them doing it. It's not them doing it, it's defilements doing it. And we've all helped to program each other in defilements. And so compassion and metta only arises out of this deep understanding of the conditionality of all living beings. And we're all connected in an internet of karmic interconnections and so on. And so, there's no self that's doing these things. It's just conditioned habits, conditioned by society, and over millions of lifetimes, virtually. But people who don't believe in rebirth, they have a hard time with it because, they say, well, where the heck did all this stuff come from in one life? So that's where their doubts and confusion arises. Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Any other questions? I saw another couple hands somewhere. Where were they? Okay, so it's another question from the chat box. If the mind is essentially a collection of independent 5 aggregates, they're not independent, but does it mean that a new citta is born in each of these micro moments? Yes, citta, states of consciousness also arise and vanish with feeling, perception, volition, and the form, feeling, perception, and volition. These are the objects of the consciousness, but they arise and vanish kind of like together in each what is called mind moment. A mind moment is a moment of hearing, seeing, tasting, smelling, touching, and thinking. And when all those 5 aggregates come together and then vanish in a nanosecond, but they arise again and again and again, thousands of millions of them within the space of a minute, because the mind is operating that fast. But we don't see that. That's the thing, we don't see that. And that's where the illusion comes of thinking that, oh, I am doing all this. Because we don't see how fast the mind is operating in this process of, impermanence. So, yeah, and that's what when you clearly see that in a deep state of that vipassana in wisdom, that is when your doubts are overcome. Okay, Damon, do you have another question?
Yeah. So why is conduct first ahead of mind, ahead of right view? You have always emphasized, usually for us, you have emphasized the more subtle levels of awareness. I mean, conduct is such a gross level. Why does that come first? Who cares about conduct?
What are you saying, Kanda?
In the 7 purifications that you've discussed, right? You put conduct in the thing that you sent to us. The first one is all about purification of conduct. And I don't understand why that is prioritized ahead of things like mind and right view and things like that.
You won't see them if you're not following the precepts. I've already made it clear. I tried to make that clear at the beginning. If you're constantly breaking the precepts and and have, the mind with a lot of, greed, hatred, guilt, worry, remorse, and fear, thinking you're going to get caught, somebody's going to find out you slept with somebody else, or you told a lie, you cheated on your income tax, whatever, ICE is coming after you, all kind of things. So how are you going to meditate with worries like that in your mind?
Right.
So, that is the meaning of it.
Got
Now,
it.
it doesn't mean you have to be perfect in the sila, but you have to have been able to weaken them to the extent where you're able to temporarily suppress them, even if it's just for a few minutes. The mind becomes clear, but usually they'll keep coming. So that's why the purification of conduct is the prerequisite for reaching purity of mind, and to be able to hold those states longer, not just attaining it for a couple seconds and go wowie wooey and then it vanishes. No, you got to be able to stay in those states for long periods of time to in order to gain that insight.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, friends. So if there's not any other questions, then so we're going to take a short break and do some yoga exercises, and then come back for the meditation. Now, in this meditation tonight, because it's this is Thanksgiving Eve, I'm going to be kind of leading you through a meditation on developing, gratitude, because Thanksgiving, of course, the holiday of Thanksgiving is about being thankful for things that you have, right? So that's also a very important virtue in the development of the Dhamma, too, to have gratitude for everything, because since we're a baby, you depended on your parents and others for 18, 20 years of your life, or at least for 15 or 16 years, you couldn't hardly do anything by yourself. And even when people are growing up, even grown-ups, we depend on so many people. You're not living by yourself. We're all interconnected. So that developing gratitude, and especially for what you have in life, even though you may not have exactly what you want, but still to have that gratitude for almost everything that we need in life. It's a strong virtue. It helps to make the mind more humble too. So anyway, we're going to be doing reflections on that. Okay? So we'll take a short break, and then we'll come back and do some yoga stretches, and then have that meditation. Okay, so we'll see you back in a few minutes. friends, try to stand straight. Relax your shoulders and arms at the sides. Try to keep your chin lifted up level with the floor. And keep your shoulders back a little bit. Just gently close your eyes. First of all, just feel your feet pressing the floor. Focus your attention on the feet pressing the floor. Try to imagine and feel the weight, 100 or more pounds, body pressing the feet. Feel those sensations, your heels, ball of the feet, toes, if you're wearing socks. Feel that socks touching the skin of the feet. Just mentally remember standing. And we're going to let the mind kind of slowly rise up through the body, up through the legs, feeling your legs. Or feel the clothing touching the skin of your legs. And feel your hands and fingers. Or feel some subtle tingling sensations or pulse of blood in your hands or fingers. Again, remember standing, letting go of your thoughts. Stay with the body. Feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Each arm weighs about 5 pounds. Feel the clothing touching the skin of the arm. Feel the clothing touching your chest. Now feel your head balanced on top of the neck. Just keep the eyes closed. Just feel the eyes in your sockets. From that point down the eyes, just try to feel the outline of that standing body. Sense of the head on top. Arms at the sides, feet pressing the floor, clothing touching the skin. So hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. The eye of awareness is like a video camera. Now begin some deep, slow breathing. Try to take 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. Draw the air into the upper lungs. Hold the air in for 2 or 3 seconds. Feel that. And then breathe out. Try to feel the last bit of air go out of the lungs. Take several more deep, slow breaths like that, developing this present moment mindfulness, body-centered mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath in. Breathing out, standing here and now. Feel the last bit of air go out. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to combine this breathing with these coordinated movements. Do the movement while breathing in, holding the position for 2 seconds, and returning to the starting point, the opposite direction on the out breath, feeling all the air go out of the lungs. Then we'll repeat each one 3 times. So you can open your eyes and observe as I lead you through it. So on the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms upward, straighten your arms, stretch your head back, look at the back of your hands, stretch upward, and release your fingers. On the out breath, bring the arms down to the sides, feel the air go out. And again, in-breath, stretch upwards, bend back a little bit, feel the arch in the lower spine, feel the sensations. Out breath, arms back to the sides, feel the air go out. Once more, in, stretch up, bend back a little more, hold it a little longer, feel the sensation. Out breath, feel the air go out as the arms come down. And relax, close the eyes, feel the inner sensations, feel the increased aliveness, body sensations, clothing touching the outer skin, subtler sensations under the skin, maybe the heart beating, blood pulsing, any of the aches or pains, itchy sensation. Just keep remembering standing. Don't give the mind time to get carried away in other thoughts. Standing. Okay, on the next in-breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the arms over the head in this way. Face the hands toward each other. Stretch up. Out breath, come back down. Feel the air go out as the arms come down. Use the in-breath to help lift up the body like blowing up a helium balloon. Body raises up. Out. Feel the air go out as the arms come down. Once more, in. Stretch. Out. And relax. Keep feeling the body. Feel the increased sensations. Each exercise will generate different sensations. Notice that as a deep state of awareness. Remember standing. Hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. Head on top, arms at the sides, feet pressing the floor, clothing touching the skin. Next we'll do side bending. On the in-breath, raise both arms up. Keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side. Keep your arms parallel to each other like railroad tracks. In breath, lift up. And the other side, out breath. In, out. In, out. In. Once more to each side. The out breath, lower the arms. Close the eyes. The outline of the body. Don't let the mind wander in thought. Remember standing, standing. Let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind, keeping the standing, breathing body in the front of the awareness. And you're looking into a mirror, watching the body, standing, breathing, sensation. Next, we're going to do the squatting or knee bending. On the next in-breath, again lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the arms up front for balance. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower the body down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come down in the squatting position if possible. And take a deep breath to feel the muscles in the legs pushing the body up on the toes, out, in, out. Gonna hold the squat a little longer. Come up. Hold it a little longer. Relax. With the increased heartbeat, other pulsations, breathing, the activated life force. Charging up all those billions, trillions of cells, make up this body. All that is the material form, all those sensations you're feeling in the body is the material form. Some of them might be painful sensations, that's the painful feeling, or the pleasant feeling. And if you identify something, that's my arm, that's a perception. Saying that's my feet, those are perceptions, mental images. If you think about them, that's your thoughts, sankaras. The sense of yourself is that I am doing this. All those five aggregates are all right there. The That's the way you contemplate. Okay, now spread the feet apart, wider the better. Holding the arms out at the side, we'll do twisting from right to left. So breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right, let your feet turn a little. Keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. In breath, come back to the front. And then twist to the other side, next out breath. In breath, front. Just keep alternating sides with the breathing. Once more to each side. Come back to the front. Relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Don't give the mind time to think about anything else. Just here and now. Feet pressing the floor, hands at the side, clothing touching the skin. Head balanced on top. All those life force vibrations. Standing. Now place the hands together at your chest. On the in-breath, raise the hands over the head. In the out-breath, lower the hands to the chest, bend the knees, lower the body down. Try to keep your back upright. There's a stretch in your knees and hips. In-breath, all the way up. Second time, come down a little further. In. Third time. In. Out breath. Close the eyes, feel the body. By now you should be able to feel hundreds of sensations, basically all simultaneously. It's all over the body. Head, chest, arms, legs, clothing touching the skin, heartbeat, prickly sensations, tingling sensations, aches or pain. All those five aggregates are right there. painful, pleasant sensations, perceptions, thoughts, sense of me, I. Okay, now we're going to do the backward and forward bending. Keep the legs spread apart, the wider the better. Just be careful with the back bends, don't bend back too far the first time. Especially when you lift up from a back bend, there could be some shaking movements in the body or feeling like you're going to black out. Don't bend back too far the first time. Just let your hands touch the front of your legs. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward, let your hands slide down to the kneecaps. Keep your arms and legs straight. Try to flatten the spine, keep the head lifted up, looking out straight ahead. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. On the out breath, gently bend back. Keep your eyes open. And the arch in the spine. In breath, carefully lift up. And the second time, let the hands come below your knees. Still keep the legs straight, arms straight, head up. And stretch forward and feel the extra stretch in the leg muscle. Also in the spine. In breath up. Again, the back bend, out breath. In breath up. And the third time, let the hands come down as far as you can, towards your ankles or even your feet, and hold on there longer. And keep the legs straight, let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. Feel all those sensations. Lift up. Once more, the back bend, careful. In breath up. The out breath, relax, feel the whole body. Now bring your legs back together. Just one last simple exercise, turning the head from right to left. On the in-breath, turn your head to the right. You have a stiff neck, just be careful. Look over your right shoulder. On the out-breath, bring the head all the way back to the left. Look over the left shoulder. Concentrate into the neck vertebra. Imagining them loosening up, in breath back to the right. Out left. In right. Left. On the in-breath, let the head stop in the middle. a standing body in the mind's eye. Standing, standing. Feel all those life force vibrations. You feel like you were standing on a vibrating machine, feeling all those vibrations from the soles of your feet up to the top of the head. Clothing touching the outer skin. Subtle sensations under the skin. All those billions of cells, trillions of cells that make up this body, charged up with oxygen, interacting, producing all this material form, sensation, pleasant, painful, or neutral. There's a thought of I or me or mine in the mind, that's an ego consciousness. Okay. So now let's come back, mindfully come back to our seats, be ready for the meditation. Turn those lights off. And just get comfortable in your sitting posture. It will establish the natural inward curve of the lower lumbar spine. Feel your head balanced on top. Just gently close your eyes. Start to feel your eyes resting in the eye socket. Try to feel the outline of the body in the mind's eye. And take a few deep, slow breaths to help center the awareness in the body. Some breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. And we're going to count our breaths from 1 to 10 to help develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing and concentration. So with the next expanding in-breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath in a second. And with the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out. Next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. Out 9. In 10. Out 10. Now as the breath goes out, don't deliberately try to breathe in again or control the breath. Let there be a little pause. Just allow the breath to come back in on its own power without controlling it. And try to hold that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. Just follow those movements of the uncontrolled or shorter breathing. Just developing that awareness of breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. Just watching your own body sitting there, breathing. Just reflect a few moments on your life. If you can remember back to when you were a young child, remembering the kindness of your parents, growing up, all the different people that have helped you in the world, grandparents, other relatives, going to school, meeting all kinds of kids, your teachers, learning new things, having received kindness from so many different persons that help you with your studies or help you with sports or just anything else. Just reflect on your life since in whatever direction it has taken. When you came into contact with the Dhamma, or whatever other maybe unfortunate situations may happen in your life, illnesses or other family problem situations made life difficult. Anyway, you made it through a lot of those difficult situations. Maybe you still have difficult situations, but you're still living, you're still able to practice meditation, have that interest in the Dhamma. So now let us kind of reflect back on some aspects of the Dhamma and have realize the good fortune and have gratitude for the things that we have in life, even though life may not have gone exactly as it is, but still thinking back, even thinking about the good fortune to get a human birth. And you were born as a human being. Because many human beings are very small in numbers compared to animals and beings in the other realms. There's only 8 billion people on this planet. You're fortunate to be born as a human being with fairly good health. A lot of people are born in the world with ill health and have to worry and suffer about their bodies and health their whole life. And just thinking, I'm very fortunate. I'm extremely grateful for even getting this human birth. And then your parents who spoon-fed you and changed your diapers for many years, and as a young infant you couldn't do anything by yourself. Your parents for 16, 18 or more years provided for you, even though they struggled themselves. Maybe it wasn't a perfect upbringing. But we owe our parents that gratitude for sacrificing their own life for so many years to try to give us a good upbringing, put us on the right path, give us an education. In fact, we were born into a country and a place where we had freedom to get a good education, being grateful for that. Again, all your relatives, your grandparents, aunts and uncles, brothers, sisters, as you grew up, you could play with, learn from. Just being very fortunate that you had those situations in life where you could grow up in this country, get a good education, have good medical care, could basically do anything that you wanted, because more than half of the world doesn't have those opportunities of the freedoms that we have in this country. So you have that, be very fortunate, extremely grateful. We had the good karma of being born is partly due to our past karma, especially born into good situations. And having gratitude for the teachers, other people that have helped you grow up. And then learning the Dhamma. Maybe you didn't learn Dhamma when you were young, but how did you first learn the Dhamma? Maybe some friend introduced you, or you read a book on somebody's coffee table or a friend's house. And you learned the Dhamma for the first time and said, wow, I haven't heard this before. So to be grateful, extremely grateful that when you first had the opportunity to hear the Dhamma and learn the Dhamma probably from others, who gave you that first book or took you to a Dhamma talk. Because a lot of people don't have the fortune to hear the Dhamma. And also that you became interested in the Dhamma. Be extremely grateful that you had the right karma, the good karma. When you heard the Dhamma, you could say, hey, that sounds good. Let me try that. Let me try to change myself. A lot of people don't have those conditions. So we feel very fortunate and grateful that we came to the Dhamma in this life, and all the people that have helped us in that. And then also being grateful for, you know, everything that you have in life. You know, you're able to eat good food, live in houses. You know, millions of people go into toiling for hours out in the fields, growing food, and the farmers suffering hard hours, jobs, people that grow the food, produce the food, all the workers in the supermarkets, people that build the houses. Basically, we would, you know, not have an easy life if it wasn't due to the kindness and the suffering that others go through just to give us a good quality of life. To be very fortunate that we have all those conditions, because again, much of the world don't have those conditions, such as we have. To be very grateful for having the right karmic conditions also, to be able to grow up, have a fairly easy life compared to much of the world. And even to be grateful for the nature, the trees, the mountains. You go out to enjoy nature on camping trips or walks, hikes. The beautiful nature, all the living creatures that help to keep this planet alive. Have that gratitude, appreciation, not to take the life for granted. And from all that kindness that we've received, and from all those different persons, from since we were a baby up to now, that we have to kind of pay that forward, you know, by practicing metta, practicing compassion, sharing whatever joy and happiness that we've got from the Dhamma with others. And we repay that kindness of others by continuing to improve our own life, to make progress on the path of Dhamma, to be grateful for spiritual companions and the opportunity to practice meditation, go on retreat. In much of the world doesn't have that opportunity for whatever reason. They have karmic obstacles that prevent them from being able to fully practice the Dhamma, to do the precious work and strengthening our mind, purifying our consciousness, liberate our mind from the various conditions, conditionings, and fetters that may continue to bring us problems. Be extremely grateful for have those, whatever help you get from others, and also grateful for your own past karma, all the work that you've done to get to this point, not to kind of waste it by giving up or thinking, oh, it's too difficult. But by developing the spiritual faculties of faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom, by following the precepts, purification of conduct, to reach the purification of the mind, to be able to abide in the happiness of the mind that's freed from guilt, worry, remorse, and fear, or harassed by strong greed and other mental defilement. Just being so grateful that we made this much progress already. Just be grateful to have the health that will give you many more years to practice the Dhamma, to make steady progress on the path. So this Thanksgiving, tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, to be thankful for all those things that we have in life, even though we might complain things not going the way we want, still we need to be thankful for the things that we do have, and to do whatever we can to share the Dhamma with others through our own thoughts, speech, and action. To make this precious human birth valuable. So just continue pondering on some of these thoughts. And to determine, even in the end of this year is coming up, the next year, to try to practice the Dhamma a little bit more. Take advantage of the good conditions that you have for old age or other problems set in. Just making that determination to forgive others, to develop metta, loving kindness, compassion. Forgive yourself for any mistakes you might have made or still making. It's time to correct them. We just come back into the body and just feel the subtle life force still operating through the body. Just be grateful that life force is still, your heart is beating, breath is going in and out. Dukkha patacani dukkha bhaya patacani bhaya sokha patacani sokha hontu sabbe pipanino. May the suffering be free from suffering. May the fear struck be free from fear. May the grieving be free from grief. In this way may all beings live with mindfulness and wisdom. Thus spoke the Buddha. And now I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly. We do that chanting on a long out breath to feel those vibrations in the body and mind. Take a deep breath. Sadhu. Breathe. Sadhu. Breathe. Sadhu. Now place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath as you breathe in. Stretch your head back. Pull against the knees. You arch your spine. And lift the head up on an in-breath. And press the chin to the top of the chest on the out-breath. Stretch the neck vertebrae. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. And relax on the out-breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So I hope that you have a nice holiday, a few days off from your job. And if you're going to meet your family and your parents, try to be very mindful. If you get, when you're sitting around talking to especially relatives and family members, and try not to get, dragged into politics or other types of conversations. Keep your mindfulness. Be sure to do your M&Ms, especially if any tension or anything arises with your interaction with others. Send metta, and just enjoy your families if that's what you're going to be doing. Or if you're home alone with your cat or dog, enjoy that too. And try to do some extra meditation. Of course, here at the Lion of Wisdom, we're having a retreat, but we won't be broadcasting those over the Zoom this time because of certain other things. But I would, if you're interested, go to our website. We have hundreds or more, 200 or more various Dhamma talks I've been giving over the last 5 years over the Zoom, YouTube Live. We listen to some of those guided, and they all have guided meditations. So there's plenty of those you can listen to, and you have to develop that inner effort to do the practice on your own also. Okay. So then for next week, try to read that last section on the insight knowledges from that attachment that I sent out. Because there's a lot of interesting material in that to use in your meditations. Okay? So until then, be well, be safe, be mindful, be wise, and Namo Buddhaya.
Bhante, Namo Buddhaya, Bhante, Sangha, Namo Buddhaya.
May you all be well, happy, and peaceful.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You, Bhante.
Happy
Bhante.